Have you ever stopped to think about what a simple crystal and, say, all of human culture could possibly have in common? Well, it turns out there's a kind of hidden architecture connecting everything. So today we're going to climb the ladder of complexity from atoms all the way up to societies to see how it all works. I know, it's a weird question, right? On the one hand, you've got this lifeless, perfectly ordered crystal, and on the other, you have the messy, chaotic, amazing network of human culture. What on earth could be the link? And the answer is relationships. It turns out complexity isn't just random chaos, it's a hierarchy, where each new level is built on the connections of the one that came before it. To really get how it all stacks up, we have to start with the most basic rules of connection. Okay, so before we start that climb, we need to get one core idea down, and that is correlation. You can think of it as the glue that holds all these different layers together. Now, a correlation isn't just two things randomly being near each other. No, it's a meaningful, structured relationship that pops up between them. It's the pattern, the rule, the shared property that gives any system its shape and its function. And these correlations, they kind of come in two main flavors. Think about the way your clothes fit you. That's an internal correlation. It's a relationship that's all contained within one system, looking inward. But a friendship, that's an external correlation. It's a connection that looks outward, linking two totally separate people. Getting this inside versus outside difference is absolutely the key to seeing how these new, incredible layers of complexity get built. All right, let's do this. Let's start our journey at the very, very bottom. We're on the surface of a planet with the fundamental building blocks of, well, everything, molecules. So here's our map for the journey, the ladder of complexity. We're going to climb it one rung at a time, and we're starting right here at the bottom, in the world of simple molecules and their physical relationships. You know, even at this super basic level, you see this incredible structure emerge. Molecules aren't just some random soup. They form crystals with these beautiful repeating patterns. They link up into polymers that create chains. And even in a simple fluid, they have these relationships in how they're spaced out. These physical rules, they're the bedrock for everything else that's coming. And this is where we see the first great leap. What happens when these fundamental physical rules suddenly give rise to something totally new, something we'd call alive? We're moving on up to level 2. This is where the boring old chemistry of a planet suddenly sparks into biology. Welcome to the world of the very first single-celled organisms. So we're climbing up that ladder into the realm of microbes and living tissues. And with the dawn of life, a completely new kind of relationship suddenly becomes possible. This is a game changer. For the very first time, we can talk about the internal state of a single thing. Is this microbe healthy? Is this biofilm thriving? This whole concept of health is a brand new, inward-looking correlation that was just impossible in a world of lifeless rocks and molecules. The building blocks themselves are getting more complicated. So what happens when these individual living cells stop just floating around and decide to team up to create something much, much bigger? Okay, welcome to a world that you'll probably recognize a little more clearly. Level 3 is all about multi-tissue organisms. Think complex animals, plants, and the brand new external relationships they can form with each other. With this next step up the ladder, we're moving past basic biology and into the world of behavior. We're now dealing with complex individuals and all the one-to-one relationships they can create. And wow, this level just unlocks an explosion of new possibilities. For the first time ever, we're seeing relationships that are purely external, connecting two separate individuals. Think predator and prey, symbiotic partners, a mentor and a student, even friendship. These are all brand new types of outward-looking connections. And here we are. We've reached the final level of our journey. This is where complexity takes its most abstract and, honestly, its most powerful form. We're moving beyond one-to-one connections and into the fabric of groups, families, and cultures. At the very top of our ladder, we finally reach human societies. And this is where all the physical, biological, and individual rules that came before act as the foundation for a wildly powerful new layer of connection. And this leap, it's huge. We go from simple one-to-one relationships, like being friends with someone, to these complex one-to-many relationships that are defined by being part of a group. A person's identity can now be tied to their family's gene pool, which gives us something like nepotism. Or it can be tied to a shared idea pool, like a profession or a culture, which gives us brand new concepts like professionalism. So we made it to the top. Let's just take a quick look back at the climb we just made. We started with the basic fundamental rules of physics and chemistry. Then, life emerged, and with it, the whole new internal concept of health. Those life forms then grouped together, unlocking all these external relationships like predator and prey. And finally, those individuals form societies that are based on shared genes and, more importantly, shared ideas. And this, right here, reveals the central truth of it all. Complexity is cumulative. The rules of physics didn't just disappear when life showed up. The rules of biology weren't erased when animals made friends. Each new level simply adds a new layer of possibility right on top of the solid foundation below it. So, this whole journey leaves us with one last kind of fascinating question. As our world gets woven together by these global digital networks, are we maybe seeing the birth of a new fifth level of complexity? What new kinds of relationships are just now starting to emerge? Something to think about. Thanks for climbing with me.